With Zhang Weili now focused on chasing gold at flyweight, the strawweight division is about to crown a new queen as Mackenzie Dern and Virna Jandiroba meet in a long-awaited rematch for the vacant 115-pound title at UFC 321 in Abu Dhabi. While the matchup promises high-level grappling and technique, it hasn't exactly generated the same buzz as past championship fights, something former fighter and analyst Dean Thomas didn't shy away from pointing out. Speaking on the On Paper with Anthony Smith podcast, Thomas said what many were already thinking. The fight, while meaningful for the athletes, hasn't captured the public's attention. "I mean this with all due respect," Thomas said. "Has there ever been a more insignificant title fight in recent memory? You get where I'm coming from. No one seems to care or have batted an eye at this fight." His comments stirred debate across the MMA community, leading Chael Sonnen to weigh in and, surprisingly, side with him. Sonnen defended Thomas's take during a recent YouTube video, saying he knows what he's looking at. He's been a competitor, a coach, a commentator. He's seen it all. When he says it's one of the most insignificant title fights, can you really argue with that? Sonnen clarified that Thomas wasn't insulting the fighters themselves, but was instead highlighting a larger promotional problem within the UFC. In his signature tongue-in-cheek style, Sonnen even joked about mispronouncing Jandiroba's name to make a point about recognition. "I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but you don't know if I'm saying it right either. That's kind of the issue, isn't it?" he quipped. The implication was clear. The UFC hasn't done enough to make these contenders household names, and it shows in the lack of excitement for what should be a major co-main event. Sonnen went further, questioning what comes next for the winner. If you're fighting for a world championship, people should be talking about your next opponent. But who's next for the winner of Jandiroba Dern? Nobody knows. That's the problem. For her part, Mackenzie Dern isn't bothered by the criticism. She sees UFC 321 as a chance to prove she's evolved since her first fight with Jandiroba back in 2020, and to position herself for a potential showdown with Zhang Weili down the line. "I think Weili might come back down after she's done at flyweight. If she does, either me or Virna will be ready for her. I see it as a good opportunity to grow and prepare for that challenge." Dern's mindset reflects confidence in her own progress. She's known for her elite jiu-jitsu, but recent fights have shown improvements in her striking and conditioning. Still, the matchup with Jandiroba, another world-class grappler with heavy top control and underrated stand-up, promises to be no easy task. Whether or not the public sees it as insignificant, UFC 321's co-main event carries real stakes. A new champion will emerge in the strawweight division, and the winner could potentially welcome Zhang Weili back to 115 or take on other top contenders like Amanda Lemos, Yan Xiaonan, or Tatiana Suarez. For now, Sonnen and Thomas's criticism has brought attention to an overlooked fight, and perhaps that's exactly what it needed, a reminder that even under the radar, this title bout could quietly redefine the division's next era.
Ilia Topuria has finally weighed in on who he wants to face in his first lightweight title defense, and he's made it clear that his top choice is none other than longtime rival Paddy Pimblett. Following his knockout victory at UFC 317, which crowned him the new lightweight king, Topuria has been linked to several potential challengers, with top contender Arman already booked to fight Dan Hooker later this year. The field narrowed to two names that carry both competitive and entertainment value: Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett. In a recent interview with Diario AS, Topuria admitted that while nothing is official yet, he knows which fight would excite him and the fans the most. "There's nothing official at this moment," Topuria said. "I haven't had any official conversation with the UFC. Everything is rumors right now. When I get a call, we can talk about details and I'll be able to say more." When pressed between Gaethje and Pimblett, Topuria didn't hesitate. "If it were up to me, I think I'd rather fight Paddy because there's a history, and I think it would be a much more entertaining fight for the fans. At the end of the day, I compete to entertain everyone and give them a unique experience. And I think with Paddy, we can achieve that." While Gaethje remains a proven veteran and perennial contender, the rivalry between Topuria and Pimblett has been brewing for years, long before either held championship gold. The two first clashed verbally backstage during a UFC event in 2022, and the animosity has only grown since then. Both fighters are undefeated inside the octagon, and their contrast in personality, Topuria's cold precision versus Pimblett's loud charisma, makes the matchup an easy sell for the UFC. Online chatter has already fueled speculation that Topuria versus Pimblett could headline the UFC's historic Paramount debut event in January, marking the promotion's first major card under its new $7.7 billion broadcast deal. For Topuria, it would be the perfect opportunity to make his first title defense on a global stage. Whether the UFC chooses to book the fan-favorite grudge match or lean toward the more proven challenger of Justin Gaethje, one thing is clear: Ilia Topuria is ready to deliver fireworks in his first title defense. And if it's Paddy Pimblett standing across from him, the build-up promises to be every bit as explosive as the fight.
Tom Aspinall finds himself at a defining point in his career as he prepares to defend his undisputed UFC heavyweight title against Ciryl Gane at UFC 321 in Abu Dhabi. While the fight itself is a massive moment for the reigning champion, a quieter battle seems to be unfolding outside the octagon, one between ambition, legacy, and financial reality. His father and longtime coach, Andy Aspinall, believes that the best future for his son lies not inside the UFC cage, but in the boxing ring. In a recent interview with RMC Sport Combat, Andy made it clear that he does not want Tom to extend his current UFC contract when it expires. "Boxing for sure, the money is more money," he said candidly. "He has 3 more fights on the contract, and I don't want to sign a new contract personally." It's a bold stance, especially given that Tom's stock within the UFC has never been higher. But Andy's reasoning reflects a reality many fighters have been grappling with: the vast difference between MMA and boxing paydays. That disparity has only grown more obvious since Francis Ngannou's move from the UFC to boxing. Ngannou made around $600,000 in his final UFC title defense against Ciryl Gane, but then pocketed roughly $10 million when he boxed Tyson Fury, followed by an estimated $20 million for his bout with Anthony Joshua. Those numbers dwarf even championship-level UFC earnings, and for Andy Aspinall, they make the idea of crossing over impossible to ignore. Tom has been transparent about the humble beginnings of his career. He once earned just 200 pounds for his first professional MMA fight, and his early UFC appearances came with modest purses of around $20,000 to $24,000 per fight. Today, as a world champion, his pay has improved, but the potential to make generational wealth through boxing remains a tempting prospect. Despite his father's enthusiasm for the transition, Tom himself isn't rushing to make that move. Speaking to TalkSport, he acknowledged the financial lure, but stressed that his focus remains entirely on defending his UFC title. "Maybe, but it's not something I think about a lot. I don't look too far ahead. Perhaps one day I'll do it if I perform well and dominate my division. I have some boxing experience, but I'm not at a world-class level, which is why I'm not focusing on it right now." Aspinall's decision will likely hinge on how his next few fights play out. With 3 bouts remaining on his current contract, a dominant title reign could give him leverage to negotiate a significantly better deal with the UFC. Or, if offers fall short, open the door for a major boxing crossover where he could cash in on his growing fame. For Andy, the timing couldn't be more crucial. At 32 years old, Tom is in his prime, and the window to make the most of his athletic peak once they open forever. His upcoming clash with Ciryl Gane will not only test his skills as a champion, but could also shape the next phase of his career. A statement victory would further cement him as the face of the heavyweight division and perhaps prompt the UFC to present a more lucrative contract to keep him. On the other hand, if the fight is grueling or if he loses, the pressure to explore new opportunities, especially in boxing, might grow stronger. For now, Tom Aspinall remains committed to his path as a UFC champion, but behind the calm confidence and focus, a much larger question looms. Will he stay loyal to the octagon that made him, or take his father's advice and chase the kind of financial legacy that only boxing seems able to offer?
Whatever the answer, UFC 321 could mark the start of a turning point that defines not just his career, but his future far beyond the cage. Cardi B has once again proven she's not afraid to put her money where her mouth is, revealing that she's dropped a staggering $250,000 parlay on two massive upcoming combat sports events: Tom Aspinall vs. Ciryl Gane at UFC 321 and Gervonta "Tank" Davis vs. Jake Paul in November. The Grammy-winning rapper shared a screenshot of her betting slip on social media, showing equal stakes placed on both bouts. If both results go her way, the payout would reach an eye-watering $460,000. In the first leg of her bet, Cardi is backing Tom Aspinall to defend his UFC heavyweight title against Ciryl Gane this Saturday in Abu Dhabi. The English champion has been on a tear since returning from injury, finishing 4 straight opponents in dominant fashion. His mix of lightning-quick boxing, footwork, and grappling has made him one of the most complete heavyweights in the world, and a clear favorite heading into UFC 321. Gane, on the other hand, is looking to finally claim undisputed gold after previous title losses to Jon Jones and Francis Ngannou. Known for his elite movement and technical striking, the Frenchman has vowed to show a more aggressive version of himself this time around. Still, odds makers and apparently Cardi B see Aspinall's momentum as too strong to bet against. The second leg of her parlay rides on Gervonta "Tank" Davis defeating Jake Paul in their highly publicized boxing showdown on November 14th in Miami. The matchup, set under catchweight rules, has divided fans and pundits alike. Davis, one of boxing's most explosive knockout artists, brings a spotless 30-0 record with 28 knockouts into the ring. Jake Paul, however, continues to defy skeptics, earning wins over former MMA champions and improving technically with each bout. While Davis is the heavy favorite, Paul's size advantage, reportedly more than 20 pounds on fight night, adds an unpredictable edge that makes this bet far from a lock. Cardi's bold wager instantly caught fire online, sparking debates among fans and bettors alike. Some praised her confidence and willingness to back two elite finishers, while others questioned the risk of linking such unpredictable fights together. Still, for Cardi B, who's never been shy about her love for combat sports, it's just another way to stay part of the action. Whether she ends up $460,000 richer or watching her parlay collapse, one thing's certain: she's riding with power punchers all the way through.
Paddy Pimblett has reignited his long-running feud with UFC lightweight champion Ilia Topuria, once again throwing verbal jabs at the undefeated title holder as speculation intensifies over a potential matchup between the two. The tension between the baddie and El Matador has been simmering for years, and now, with both men hovering around the top of the lightweight division, the rivalry feels closer than ever to spilling over inside the octagon. Ever since their infamous hotel altercation back in 2022, the two have been on a collision course. Topuria has since climbed to championship status, capturing not just the featherweight title, but later moving up and winning the lightweight crown, while Pimblett has remained one of the UFC's most marketable personalities, despite facing criticism for the level of his competition. Now, with UFC's Paramount Plus debut event rumored for early 2026, the possibility of these two finally meeting has become a major talking point across the MMA community. Pimblett, never one to hold his tongue, fired another round of shots in a recent interview, taking aim at Topuria's fame and background. "No one would know Ilia Topuria if it wasn't for me. He made himself famous off the back of my name," Pimblett said, visibly frustrated. "He's so fake, like half of his followers. It's been proven half his followers on Instagram are bots. He's just a McGregor copycat, and I'm getting sick of him. He's a German. He's not even Spanish. He's not even Georgian. He was born in Germany. He's German." While Pimblett's comments have fueled yet another round of online debate, Topuria has yet to respond publicly, though history suggests it's only a matter of time before he fires back. The champion has made no secret of his disdain for Pimblett in the past, repeatedly calling him a clown and dismissing his credentials as unworthy of a title shot. Still, with Topuria rumored to headline UFC 324 in January 2026, potentially opposite Justin Gaethje, the Liverpoolian's comments could be his way of forcing his name back into the conversation. For Pimblett, a fight with Topuria would be more than just personal. It would represent a career-defining opportunity. After a controversial win over Michael Chandler earlier this year, his critics have continued to question whether he's ready for championship-level competition. But if he can secure a bout with Topuria and make good on his promise to humble the Spaniard-German-Georgian champion, it could catapult him from cult favorite to legitimate contender in one night. The UFC has yet to make any announcements, but the timing feels right. Topuria's undefeated aura, his explosive rise to stardom, and his simmering grudge with Pimblett could make for one of the most heated rivalries in years, and the perfect main event to launch the UFC's new era on Paramount+. Whether it's bravado or genuine hatred fueling the feud, one thing's certain: Paddy Pimblett isn't letting Ilia Topuria out of his sights anytime soon.